So I don't know how this is going to come out because I'm in the woods and I have my 2 dogs. So I kind of have to keep a little bit of an eye on them. But I did want to share a few more things. I think the last video that I was posting was on the fearful avoidant. And I mentioned in the video some strategies on how one can, who is a fearful avoidant, work on being more secure or just feeling more, I guess, centered and grounded. So I just wanted to recap quickly, but I mean, you can go back a little bit to look at my videos on attachment. But for me, I have realized that I am a fearful avoidant, and how this has manifested itself in me is just really wanting connection and wanting closeness, but also at the same time, really, once I have it or once it's presented to me, I'm gonna sit down here. Just really having challenges with feeling safe in that environment. So I can enter into initial stages of relationship and feel comfortable, and even kind of the early stages, and but if the person that I'm with is somebody that, or in the past, if the person that I'm with is more interested in me and what's going on inside of me, that's when I kind of swing to the avoidant stage, which is like creating distance. And for me, that's kind of, mental isolation. I think mostly for me, kind of, withdrawing into myself, or creating space like that. So initially, I present as anxious a little bit attachment, like really wanting connection, and then when it reaches a level of increased intimacy, I have in the past struggled with feeling comfortable and safe in that way, and then the avoidant stuff kind of comes in. So as I mentioned in the past video, I feel like this is sort of an INFJ kind of mode of being in a lot of ways. So I think that both my childhood attachment stuff and my Myers-Briggs personality type are kind of like aligned in that way. But here I think I don't want to go in too much detail really, because it's very individual to each person on how the fearful avoidance stuff manifests. But for me, myself, how I believe that it has occurred is that when I was really young, in elementary school mostly, I did suffer peer torture and bullying. And so it was physical and it was emotional, and it was continuous for many years. I think probably going from like sort of 10 years old to maybe 15 years old. And it was pretty much daily. So subsequently, that kind of pattern has contributed. And additionally, I will say that for attachment disorders, there's usually a component of caregiver contribution to this. And I'm not blaming, okay? So like when I say contribution, caregiver contribution, it just is. Like the behavior and the interactions that you have with your caregivers are more of a manifestation of generations and generations of how they interacted with their caregivers. So I do have some understanding, and this isn't a blame game here, but when I did bring my complications, or what was going on with me and how I was experiencing life on a daily basis to my caregivers, it really wasn't something that they were super or can engage with. In my perspective, it didn't seem that they were really concerned about it, although I now reflect back, I think that they were. They just didn't really know how to engage with me with that kind of level of pain. And so that's kind of my backstory and what I've come to understand. A lot of the experiences that occurred back then, I have kind of started to incorporate with current therapy. But, because it was so intense, I had dissociated from a lot of that. So I'm reintegrating it. And as I do reintegrate it, I am better able to kind of look for tools that I can use to make myself feel a bit more, safe with sharing the inside of who I am, and also having healthy connections with other people, which I've always kind of, I've always kind of had healthy friendships for the most part, although they had a level of a threshold of ability to connect and share what was going on inside me. So so some of the strategies that I've been using, one is getting into nature, into the woods, and for me, bringing my pets is really nice, because I feel like it brings some presence of mind to what's going on right now, because they really are enjoying the current state of things, which I tend to kind of, go off in my head quite a lot, and don't always, focus on the now, and they kind of help that. But I really don't always desire to have another human companion with me, although I'm starting to incorporate that a little bit. So getting out into nature, really breathing in what's happening, noticing small things in nature, like the wind in the trees, and just really focusing on now moments and presence has helped. And then meditation, definitely, and body movement. I have to exercise regularly, almost every day. And I think it's just connecting my mind and my body, and being able, I think the exercise facilitates the ability to live in the now moment, because my mind and my body connection is not always strong, so I have to kind of really work on getting that connected. So that's another thing. Practicing gratitudes, I do it now every night. I know other people that do it in the morning as a way to set their day. But for me, closing at night in my journal with 6 things that I'm grateful for every single day. And so examples for that are so small. You can start so small, and it could be as much as my bed is really comfortable, and I'm really grateful that I have a comfortable place to sleep. If you have large things going on in your life and everything feels comfortable, start with you. Start right here. Start with, I'm breathing in and out. Start with, I can feel my face, and that I'm grateful that I can feel. Sensory stuff is a great place to start. If you're having struggles with gratitudes, you can then expand it out to larger things. For me, a bigger thing would be, I am so grateful for my best friend sharing something personal with me, and I'm honored that she chose me to share that with. And even for sometimes the difficult things that are going on in your life, reframing them. Like, I'm really grateful that I met that difficult bagger at the grocery store, because when I left the grocery store, I was really able to focus on like what it feels like to be kind and what it feels like to be happy, and just taking those times in your life that are, oh, I'm sorry, I have to stop it because somebody's coming. Okay, so I'm going to restart it because there were some skiers and they had to go through, and I wanted to make sure the dogs didn't get in their way. So I left off with gratitudes. So gratitudes are really important. I think kind of bring in my purpose for being here on this earth in this particular form, to kind of bring forward my warm, accepting presence. It's important for me to practice gratitude. And then I think self-love is also something that really I'm working on. I've struggled with it. I think, accepting myself and my perceived deficiencies or whatever, trying to reframe them, make them more positive. So making sure that you take the time to give yourself what you want somebody else to give you. So for me, that's kind of a multitude of things, I think, but one of them is, I will say, like, physical appreciation is definitely one for me. So like words of affirmation, words of affirmation in general, but parts of the words of affirmation are like physical appreciation. So like, you're looking beautiful today kind of thing, like waking up and saying that to yourself. I know it feels a little self-conscious when you kind of first start doing it, but then once you kind of get, you get into it, it's like, yeah, damn, you look good today, So I think that is one of the things that I've kind of integrated into, and also just, the other affirmations are like telling myself that I am a kind person, and that I'm a generous person, and that I'm a loving person, and that I'm lovable, and that I do deserve love and kindness and affection and all the things that I would give to somebody else. I do deserve them, and I have to say them out loud to myself. And I do this, for me, I kind of do it in my morning routine. So like when I'm getting ready in the morning, taking a shower or whatever. So that's kind of my time when I feel like that's the best time for me, where I have like solo time to myself, where I'm not, dealing with getting the kids ready or whatever. And it doesn't take long for me, like 5 minutes or whatever, just kind of running through these things. That has been super helpful to me, to not be always searching for that in other people. And when I don't have it from somebody else, feeling lack. So, just really giving myself that, myself. So gratitude, words of affirmation, presence, exercise, and then for me, journaling. Journaling is huge, and I do journal all of those things. The other thing for me, because of my issues with my physical safety being violated as a young person, and also, I will say that in my case, it was my physical space and also my personal space. So my belongings were taken from me, and by peers, and wrecked and messed with. So that for me is also a point of something I need to work on. And it's, it's part of my fearful avoidance stuff. It's like, so I have like the emotional component, the physical component, and the spatial component all of these things that I recognize are things that I need to work on. So safety is a big thing for me. Physical safety, emotional safety, and also like spatial safety. So for me, like an exercise that is good for me is to kind of remind myself that I am safe, that I'm not like this 10-year-old person that is going to be harmed. So I journal every night, like 6 things that make me feel safe. So, and these are so simple. To me, it's like I have heat in my home. Like I have a schedule where I know somebody's going to come and deliver fuel so that I can heat my home. I have wood. I have my wood stove. I can provide the things that I need to feel physically safe. I have a job. I have, these kinds of things like predictability and stability. And I think for the fearful avoidant, one of the things that they do struggle with is unpredictability. So life is just very unpredictable. Like we never know what's going to happen. Like really, ultimately the goal is to kind of really let go of trying to figure that out. But I think for the fearful avoidant in general, probably for most people, but particularly for the fearful avoidant that really experienced a lot of instability and unpredictability, the key is going to be able to recognize in the day, in the right now, that everything is just fine. So, so 6 things that every night that I do to feel like that I'm safe in my current situation. And that has helped hugely. So these are the strategies that I use. And then I kind of do want to talk a little bit about how it manifests itself in my life, my personal life. One thing that has allowed me to have is like space between what action has occurred and my emotional response to it. So like say somebody said that they were going to call me and didn't call me. I'm just using like a low level response because I'm just running off the fly here. So anyways, somebody didn't call me, said they were going to call me, didn't call me. Like before I've done all this, I would have like kind of gone inside and tried to like figure out like, why didn't they call me? Did I say something? Is there a reason why? Like, oh, well, then, they must, not really care about me or whatever. And then, so that's like the anxious part. And then the avoidant part will be like, well, and then I don't think that they're really, my friend anyways, and I don't need them. And like, so this, I'm saying like my extreme situation, like this was years ago probably where I would have had that response inside. I would never have said this outside. And probably when they came back and was like explaining, I would have been like, oh, okay. And like been like suspicious, but like have it kind of accepted it. But, now I just go like, oh, well, there's definitely a reason why they didn't call me back. Like, I'm sure there is. And then if I didn't hear back from them, I would just communicate, hey, I thought I was going to hear from you. I was like expecting to hear from you and I was really looking forward to talking to you. Like, what happened? Can we connect at some other time? And, now that I say it out loud, it seems kind of like simple and easy and like, why wouldn't I just do that? But I don't know. I just couldn't. And so that's kind of one thing that it's allowed me to do. And then I think just in general, able to experience like just regular moments with less anxiety and knowing that I don't have to figure everything out. And as I'm now starting to like kind of explore relationships again, and that is kind of a new thing, really, and just new relationships in general. I have been very upfront with what my needs and desires and expectations are. Not in a forceful way, not in a you must do this way at all. It's just like, this is my truth. This is what I am working on. These are the things that I know I struggle with, and like what are you working on? What are you struggling with? Just really upfront, being very open about myself and not fearing somebody's response to it necessarily, because I don't have to fear somebody's response to that, because I got myself. I got me. Like, it's not I don't need anybody else anymore, which was where I kind of was before. Like, I want people, I don't need you. You know what I mean? Now it's like, I want to engage with you, but if you can't engage with me in this way, that's okay. Like, it's not about me at all. I understand that it's your path, and our paths aren't meant to cross right now, and that's okay. And if they aren't meant to cross right now, it's okay, because I have this. My dogs and my kids and everything that brings me joy and happiness. And when I'm out here, I feel loved. I feel loved. And I don't necessarily need somebody else to feed that to me. And that is I had fleeting moments of that before, but now I have it more often. And I will say that, it sounds like, oh gosh, this is all so hard. It must take so much time. It's, I don't know if you're sitting there thinking like, this could never be me. I could never do that. That is the thing that I felt like. And sometimes I still wonder, I was like, oh, I'm still struggling with this. I must be reverting and stuff. And no, like it's kind of not that. I think that there are times when when I've been working on something and I feel like I've sort of, not made, like I may have been a different place, and then I kind of feel like I'm back a little bit further, but I didn't fall back all the way. So I am still going forward. And that's, I guess, the final thing is, like, I have to, like, read back in my journal and reflect, like, where I was and now where I am, and know that I'm going in the right direction. And all of this didn't take a super ton of time, actually. It was more like, I really started rigorously working on myself, about a year ago. And in the past, probably 3 to 5 months or something, I've seen huge, massive changes when I started really implementing these things that I'm telling you, like, on a pretty daily basis. And there's just nothing groundbreaking about any of it. It's not like I had a spiritual awakening. It's not like God came down, or whatever you believe, and visited me and showed me the way forward. No, it wasn't something outside of me at all. It was something just much more simple and plain. It was just me. And I think that is something that I wanted to impart on you, if you're listening, because it is possible, and it doesn't have to be hard. It's hard. It can be really just so simple and basic. And I'm actually feeling really grateful right now for being able to record this, and that maybe somebody is going to hear it. So thanks for listening, and I'm going to keep enjoying my wilderness walk. Have a good day.